Yes, anyone can start or ask, or if wants to prefer silence, we can be in silence. Yes, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, thank you. I have a question. I'm still a little bit in doubt with the idea of free will. And if you have some time, maybe you can tell something more about free will and because what I'm doubting about is how to say, we talk a lot about not planning, not going to endurership and things like that. But it's like if you don't plant seeds, you will not get any food. And
So, what type of fruit are you looking for, Fred?
what kind of fruit?
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's about to make it really concrete. It's like I'm in doubt that I'm having a job right now. I'm recovering of 2 burnouts, and before we did this session, I was thinking about changing job and looking for something new, but that's going into action, and it takes a lot of effort to switch. And maybe I just after this and if I listen to myself, it feels like I don't have to do anything. I just can go back to my job in a month and continue where I left it, but with another mindset and a mindset of being more acceptable with what is going on. And that's where I have still doubt. Do I have to do something to switch or not? And just accept what is?
Mhm. Look, what you are asking is, I think your question is started with, do we have a free will? I think that's what I understood. Is that right?
Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Ego always thinks that it is a free will. That's why it is ego. It is always on the go. It thinks it can achieve, it can do, it can gain, and it also has fear of loss. That is always ego. Even when you are talking about, and you were asking me whether I can have a change mindset of acceptance. Now the ego has brought this such a vast opening in us in form of mindset that total acceptance, yes. Non-doership, yes. I will change this in my mindset. So mind works in a way, and I will fine tune few things, and it should be okay. It is. You understand what I'm saying? Are you able to understand? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mind plays very fine tricks, and ego, it helps ego to stay there. Whatever method you apply, from whatever stream you apply, from religious background, spiritual background, it wants you to continue doing what you are doing, but still wants to stay in your home. Don't want to leave your home. Understand the tricks. It and you can pick up just by the words which we choose when we speak out, because how nicely it decorates our life, but in pure awareness it cannot hide. And its death is when it cannot hide. It is something you can say, ego can only survive in darkness, in ignorance. But the moment you are alert, you are vigilant, you are aware, it looks like there is a lot of light of your knowingness is falling inside, and there is no darkness. And when there is no darkness, the ego ghost goes away. When I was a kid, I used to feel about like ghost, what are ghosts, and I was always heard that if you have fire, if you have light, the ghost goes away. And a lot of people feel like that, or used to tell me, um, and I think this really works well for ego. When there is light, when there is that vigilance in us, then this ego cannot stay. It can create a lot of excuses to stay. It can create, look, I have to change job, I have to be like this. It tries to bend the rules of freedom and keep you in that cage, keep you in the mind mentality. If you understand these things and you start watching the life going on, good or bad, I can't say that, whatever it is. But if you start witnessing, you will be surprised to know that all the things which your mind was promising or was telling you that it will bring it to you, things just happens. Who does, how it happens? Someone will talk to you about a thing, something happens. Whether, if it has to happen, if it does not have to happen, it will not happen. At the end of the day, you are not leaving your peace. You are in that bliss all the time. Things happens, things don't happen. And I'll tell you, it's not just this, that you are not leaving your bliss. It is a huge gap between what you right now think what you are, and as awareness you live a life. It's a it's a huge difference. It's not just a difference of not feeling stressed. We have made it so small, as you can say science or people that do mindfulness, there will be peace. Yes, there will be peace. It's a byproduct of it. Nobody talks that it will be the ultimate freedom. You are that absolute. Who talks like that? Tell me. Nobody. You go to or any mindfulness meditation course coming from medicine, mainstream or religious or spiritual, everyone tries to show you that there is someone up there, God, and you are here. And you have to always be dependent on something to be happy. Uh, Dependent on a technique, dependent on a God, dependent on something, always. Nobody gives you that freedom. Now you're talking about free will. Free will is when you are actually free from all the doings, all the dependency. That is free will. That free will you will get when you are not dependent on your mind, not dependent on any external situation, not dependent on this body. That is free will, isn't it? Otherwise, what is free? What is free? Who is free? If you look. And that is the way, that is the reason. I'll tell you honestly, whether it's true or false doesn't matter, but understand why Bhagwan always said there is no free will. Why he said that? Because he wanted your ego to go, ego to finish. Because this ego says, I will do this and I will achieve this. The moment someone says to you, you don't have any free will, who actually feels very restless? Oh, I don't have a ego only. It is like death of the ego. How can you dare to say that? I have achieved a lot in my life and I can further do. I have networking, I know things, I have knowledge, and I can work hard, and I'm honest. I can achieve, I can do. Who says that? So Bhagwan has said there is no free will. Now, when you say no free will, then you come back and rest in your that awareness. Okay, whatever happens is happening because the way the script is already written. So body will do something and I will be just in my bliss, because If nothing is in my hand, then why should I be agitated about anything? Look, it is all about your agitation and your restlessness when we say that the doer is there. But in non-doership, I'll tell you, activity is 1,000 times more. Understand this. It's not like you become a lazy bone lying somewhere in the corner of the house. Maybe you are in so much of bliss that you can be like that. Who knows? But it is very intense activity in that stillness. Like, it is a paradox. It's very hard to explain. This world is spinning, like the earth is spinning so fast, but who do you feel dizzy? It looks still. So in that activity, that stillness is there all the time. So this question of free will, if I say to you, yes, you have free will. Now Bhagwan says there is only one free will. And that free will is you can be free from the ego. That is the only free will you have. If you are that ego, then what is free will? You are bound by ego. Now ego says this is good, this is bad, you like, you hate, you want to achieve, you have a failure, then you feel sorrow, you keep going up and down with your emotions, with your feelings. Sometimes you're happy because things are happening according to the ego's wishes, and other times it's not happening according to the ego's wishes. So free will is only the other name of ego. Divine will is the other name of your pure presence. When we say divine will, means your will and that will of the absolute merges. It can only merge when the ego has disappeared. And the ego can disappear when the ego knows that it is helpless, it has no will, and it surrenders to the absolute. Then the ego is disappeared, and what is left is you, that absolute, that pure presence. Now there is no middleman who can say, I have to do this and I want to achieve this, and this is not happening the way I want. Some people surrender, but their surrender is half. They think when they surrender, they say, oh, I have surrendered to God. But they are still looking for good results in everything. They say, God, I have surrendered to you. You're not giving me this and that. Then they complain. If you are complaining, then where is the surrender? In surrender, can't be complaint. When you have surrendered to that absolute, then you are happy in whatever situation it is. If you are still unhappy, that means your surrender is incomplete, isn't it, Fred?
That's true. But what do you do, for example, if something comes on your way, on your path, and you have to make a choice? For example, you get an email for a job fair you didn't know about, and suddenly you have the choice: do I go or do I not go? And when you're thinking, I can just stay here and sit, I don't have to do nothing, but you can also decide to go. And then you can think, do I have some resistance to go or not? And who is playing now? Is it my mind, or is it just, I can also ignore that email and just, it's I can see it as a commercial thing and say, I don't have to go.
Look, this is all mind talk. Mind is always confused. It wants to choose this. It wants to choose this. It wants to do this. There is some intuitiveness in all of us, I'll tell you, which helps us to choose. I'll give you an example of a animal who is living in, free range, who is in a jungle or a forest. Not your pets. Pets are like us now. But they can smell and they will eat what the body needs. This is the intuitiveness all the time. I can give you examples of a lot of human beings with whom I've interacted. They feel this to eat. You get their blood test, they're deficient in that thing. But to be that aware even about your liking for a food, which is good for you because the body needs it, just like other animals. They smell and they feel and they have this intuitiveness that I should eat this, and they eat that which they are deficient, and they select. This selection is not happening at thinking level. They are not saying that this is tasty, so I should eat. No, no, there is that higher awareness in all of us. It dies down when it is overlaid by the egoistic tendencies of taste and greed, and you know, people keep munching between the meals. While I'll tell you honestly, a little bit of hungry is so good. You feel so light, you feel so fresh, you feel so active. Not just filling your tummy all the time with something or the other. And then you say you don't know you are hungry or not, because we don't know hunger. We before the hunger strikes, we have already replenished with another meal. I'm just giving this simple example of a meal, but it applies to everything, even big decisions in life. That power just takes that decision. It somehow it takes you plan something with from your ego, and then something will happen that it does not fructify. This does not happen. If it does not happen, you just leave it. You just accept it, because it's like that. Maybe you go for something and then it happens, and it happens in a very big way. You just accept, maybe this is the way it was supposed to happen. When you say there is a choice and which one to go, I will say whatever that intuitiveness comes to you, just pick one. And if it goes, it goes. Otherwise, you can fall back to the other. And that's the way life has to go, one step up and one step down. That's the way everything goes in life, isn't it? Even that river which starts and goes to the ocean, sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, sometimes it is a big boulder, sometimes it flows very fast, sometimes it looks like it is still. That's what the whole life is all about. Things sometimes works in one direction, sometimes it goes in another direction. But it just happens. Things just happens. Nobody can say what is right or what is wrong and why it is happening. When it is really, really bad, the way the ego doesn't want, you can just laugh over it. If you get stressed about it, then it doesn't work that way. I can give you a small example. This thing happened on this weekend. There was this there was a couple who brought their daughter for an admission from overseas. And they both are professors, knows one of my friends. And I said to them, look, I can introduce you to another professor who is in your field, and you guys can have a chat. And I spoke to this person who is very busy, and he said, yes, I can meet them. And I told them, and they said, oh, we are busy on this day. Can we meet next day? So I went back to this person. He said, no, I'm busy on the next day. I can only meet today. And I passed it on back to them, and they said, look, we are busy today. Now, today they left back home. So I just met them for a few minutes. And they said the day when you offered and you wanted to meet, we had other plans, but that other plan didn't work. They took a bus to go to someone's place, and that bus was going on to the opposite direction. They went there. Then they realized they took off that bus. 3 people, professors, very intelligent, came out, took the bus from the other side, went to that person's place. Then they realized they left the bag in the previous bus. Then they came back. They went to the depot. Now it was Saturday. Saturday, in any city, most of the cities, everything is closed. Like you can't call anyone. Everything is. They even called Clayton police station. They got the message the police station closes at 5 p.m. They said, bloody, we have never heard that even police station closes in this country at 5 p.m. So this is the thing. And then they finally, with all that struggle, and it was extremely cold on this Saturday in Melbourne, and they were traveling by bus, and finally they could sort it out. They got their bag back. But what I'm trying to tell you is who plans things? Who plans how things happens? Like we can be very smart that no, we will do this thing next day and today this thing, and you plan and then nothing happens on that day. Then what can you do? Then can you fall back on the previous plan? No, the time has gone now. If it happens, it happens. I'm telling you, till we stay in the ego mode, we can't enjoy these catastrophe or whatever we suffer, because we have so much of intention behind an act. But if you are that awareness, you're just watching the drama unfolding, then the worst tragedy is also just a drama unfolding in front of awareness. And the biggest gain is also just a drama unfolding. You never lose your bliss, because that awareness, which is actually choiceless, it never makes any choice. But yes, it sees how the choices are done in a situation. Someone comes, someone calls, a job comes, some intuitiveness says, okay, I'll accept, or some intuitiveness can say, I will not accept. But for that awareness, everything is perfect. That's why for awareness, this word is perfect. Because everything is transient, changing. Nothing stays. So how can you say that this is right or this is wrong? It is just a play. In this play, nothing is right, nothing is wrong. Whom to compare, whom to judge, and why to judge? Just like your dream, what you saw at night, there were so many things happening. Weird, actually, in dream, a lot of things weird happens. You know why? Because when we dream, we leave one of the koshas of the body. This is sthul sharira, food body. So then that in that space of that dream, when the mind acts, it has no access to this body, but other subtle bodies are there. So sometimes you are flying, sometimes you are reaching somewhere very quickly, and at that level it happens like this. It is exactly similar to when a person dies and leaves this body. Then those koshas are there, those subtle bodies. That is actually more like the dream word. Which is when the body is not in this solid body is not there, the food body. So I try to understand this all is a dream. This dream is going on with a food body. But that dream at night comes when this one kosha is less out of 5. Understand, if you take this with an open heart, this thing, not as a concept, but and just see this, it will become your own knowledge. You don't have to read any book. It is not a book, it is not a concept. We are concept until you get rid of this ego. The ego gone, all the concepts gone. The ego observed, concept starts disappearing. All concepts of life, all conditioning start disappearing. They are all only, their reach is only up to ego. They have no clue about this pure awareness, which is not involved. Like it is an energy, it is like a vibration, you can say, in the body, by which this body is alive, the mind is alive. But to watch it, only technique is you get out of this free will, and then you will realize first time in your life that awareness has all the will. It is the source of free will. So the jnani is the source of free will, which he never attempts, though he can, but he is so much in total acceptance that he never attempts. So the miracles happens in front of Jnani, though he has no intention, but miracles happens. While ego thinks it has free will, but it is in complete bondage. But it tries to act as it has free will. How big the paradox is. The one with free will never utilizes that free will. The one who has no free will thinks always that he has free will. Because all the will is to be happy. When you are that absolute bliss, then what else? What else do you want to do to because all our efforts, even let's talk about, you were talking about a job and you are going for a job, you take a job, why we want to move from this job to this job? Maybe more perks, maybe less tension, maybe better working environment, whatever it is, something to bring more peace, isn't it? But if you are that absolute peace, then maybe some other intuitiveness can make you still change a job, but you don't mind whether you stay here or you go there. Everything is same. All these small things in life or even big things in life, they don't have any meaning. Whatever story we tell when we meet people, you could be from any culture, any country, rich, poor, whatever. When we meet others, what we talk? We talk from ego, we listen from ego, we suggest from ego. Do we go to a party or meet friends and then we stay as awareness? Can we do that? Or can we try that? But I'll tell you how beautiful it is, that energy, when you stay there. And that is why the vigilance is so important in establishing yourself in pure self. And that is why so many people they have dispassion for others and meeting people, and because there's nothing to talk. Tell me, when you meet as pure self to another pure self, what can you do? You can only love. For that love, even you don't have to speak, the love just comes out from that beingness. It is only pure love. It is unconditional love. This love is not because you are my relative or you are from my country or you are from my religion or you work with me or whatever. No. Even if a person is self-abidance, wants to pick and choose, he cannot, because the middleman is not there who does everything. The doer is fictitious. It is not fact. It is fake. The moment you put your awareness, light of awareness, that actually disappears forever. Now there is one risk. That ego can come back if there is darkness. Darkness of whatever you can say. If something can still buy you, can bribe you in any way. That is why this state is so desireless. Even a small act, like Buddha, once he was taking a bug out of his hand, and then he realized, because he was talking to one of his disciples, he came back and then saw and then did that act again, though there was no bug, and that asked, why are you doing? He said, first time I did it in complete inattention, just as a reflex. I am that Buddha, I am that awareness. Awareness should never be missed. I'm giving you this example just to see how subtle this awareness is. If you, a Buddha, after whom a whole religion started. And still people are growing into that Buddhism more than 2,500 years ago. Gave so much of importance to the awareness, to that vigilance, because we call it awakening. What is awakened? Like you can say you are right now, you're awakened, you are talking, you're not in sleep. But this is also a sleep. Sleep covered by ego. Sleep in which there is an individual living in a bubble. You have to transcend this bubble. You have to come out of it. And then you will realize that you, me, everything in this today's gathering, we are all the same, that pure awareness. But it is so beautiful. The awareness has taken different shapes, forms, work. You don't have to find a link to connect to others as yours. It is you. It is that energy which knows, which is flowing from in all of us. And so there is love, not because of any particular reason. Like people categorize, and sometimes we belong to a group because of a particular reason, isn't it? Country or religion or race or whatever, and we say, oh, we are one group, and people can die for their own group. But Jnani, a person realized, will die for everyone, because everything is the same awareness. That's the substrata on which everything is playing. No, nothing is different. Not people make groupism in human beings, but here the animals, plants, everything is part of that only. Nothing is different. Understand that you are that undifferentiated awareness. All divisions and differentiation and coming to a level where we are playing a role as an ego is a very, very low level. Because of that conditioning from where we are, we have moved so low that nothing can be lower than that. Maybe the animal instincts, but some people live in human body as animals also. So selfish, so egoistic. For a small thing, they can kill others. All these things, road rage, wars, created by whom? By us. All these nuclear weapons and all what is happening, all this drama. I'll tell you, this world is ruled by ego only. You can call it progress. I don't know. It's all coming from ego only. Because ego makes everything ugly. All discoveries, all inventions, all about me. Me as a person and me as a nation also. And then others. Don't underestimate the power of awareness. It takes you out of this individual to infinity. You are that infinity. And death touches only the individual. It cannot touch infinity. If death has to kill you, then it has to kill everything on earth. Still, it cannot touch you. Because after everything is finished, awareness is still left. Mind always takes us into small, petty things of life, a story in which it believes that it is your own life. You are that person. You are living a life in this body. Ego makes us so small. And then we deal with those small things of this small life. And then we meet people who are also leading a small life in that small body. And then maybe with our frustration, or maybe inquisitiveness, or maybe just grace, or maybe just some you can call accident, we come across someone or a teaching that this is all fake. Can you believe that it is fake? If you have invested so much in this life, you will never want to say it is fake. But some opening in you can accept it. And when you accept, then you start looking that way. Then you put some efforts to understand, maybe first intellectually, and then you practice something. Can you stay in this stillness? Can you be the just a witness of things rather than reacting, responding, interacting? Can you just be? And then when it happens within you, actually you, initially the mind cannot believe. Mind will call it an experience. I'll tell you the life of a free person. Actually, it is life of free from person. When you're free from this person, then you become more sacred. You become so pure. Your energy level is different. It is pure energy. And it is nothing about boasting or nothing about feeling important. No, you feel as important. Everyone feels as important because no one is separate from this. First time you realize that all these people are also projection from the same mind. You look like individual, but it is your own projection which is coming in form of these people and situations. Who knows that? Anyone can know this who has no interest in individual, who has no interest in his own story. Tell me what we do when we meet people. We tell our stories, isn't it? I was this, I am this, I have done this. Or this happened to me, people are treating me like this is my suffering. Even disease becomes a story. Look, I am being suffering and whatever, and then people feel pity. Whatever way the story goes, whatever we feel important about our story, we put forward that story to people. We want to sell this story to people so they are interested in us, isn't it? We want to sell our story to people. But let's say you are that who has no story to tell. You go among other beings, you sit with them, there is no story to tell. What would you do? We have no story. Go to that zone where there is no story, where you also not just saying that I have no story, where you have zero interest in that story. If you have to write your story, your autobiography, as pure awareness, it will be only blank pages. I'll tell you Moment you start witnessing life, you will realize things just happens, everything happens. Who organizes, who creates, why? That power knows how things happens. Yes, Asha.
Last time you said that when true witness is happening, then you are free. Now, what is true witnessing?
When you are not reacting to anything internally, you can still correct things as they are happening. But there is no restlessness inside you because ego cannot witness. Ego can only fake that it is witnessing, but it is always interested in something or the other. It's always trying to extract something from somewhere or someone. But witness who is uninvolved is in total acceptance. So if you can recognize yourself as awareness, which is just a witness to whatever is happening, not even interested in watching what is happening. Things happens, and they are noticed and they move on. Even thoughts. Don't think a jnani, a person who is realized, does not have any thoughts. He also gets sometimes thoughts, but not he does not live in thoughts. He does not speak through thoughts. And because he is in that witness mode from where the thoughts arise and goes, but does not touch, so they don't create any trouble. Maybe he also had some strong mental impressions by which some thoughts still might pop up. But he can smile on those thoughts because he has no interest in those things again. Maybe the mind is still testing or thinking that he might be still interested. Let's try him again. Though he's saying he has left drinking alcohol, but maybe he's still interested. Let's ask him. Whatever word we use, we always fall short of words, because whatever someone speaks, ego will take as a method or a strategy and put it into the sets of some training to the mind. But in truth, we are beyond mind. We can all transcend mind. And actually, in reality, there's nothing to transcend. We are that same self. But all the time we are working through the mind, like wearing that covering of mind and then speaking and then doing. If you start witnessing, start staying as awareness, which is uninvolved, sooner you will realize there is a big gap between you and what you thought you are. It will be your own understanding so clear with whole clarity. And the biggest test is that things which always led to unhappiness will have no effect on you. I know some people believe in rebirth, some don't believe in rebirths, and there are so many concepts about things. But this eternal awareness, the moment you realize this, and the doership is gone, the one who owns this body is gone, then who will be born again? It is very simple, very easy, but it is profound. You are your own confirmation in this opening. It is so beautiful. When your dream is over, do you ask dream people in your dream again that is it over? They are creation of your own mind. Witnessing is the one who does not allow thoughts to take decisions on your behalf, who takes away that power from all thoughts and witnesses. And thoughts comes and they ask, can I do this for you? Can I do this for you? Or this person is like this, or this situation is like this. Rather than giving any energy to those thoughts, and those thoughts leading to some actions or response, or even emotional response, or even an internal response, you stay like a wall. See how beautiful that energy, you become that energy then. There's no dissipation of energy into thoughts and emotions and feelings and all. It's doable by everyone who is ready for it. And it takes some efforts not to again drift back into the ego mode. I'll give you one another clue about it. Bhagwan Ramana Maharishi, for days, for weeks, he stayed still in the body, not eating, not drinking, not moving. He had marks of all the bites of scorpions and all sorts of insects, bugs. Do you think he was doing any tapas? Was he a yogi? No. That was an effortless state in which he was in his own bliss, unaware of the body. Lived on the mountain, in hill, on hill, in caves, not talking to anyone. It was so hard for him after a few years to start talking when people approached him. Lost interest in talking. That same energy, same awareness is in all of us. That stillness is in all of us. With the right attitude, right balance, everyone can get it. Why less people? Because less people are interested. That's all. I can tell you, I have not seen one single example that someone tried and couldn't get it. People usually try and they leave it and they get involved in something else. You know, when you start witnessing, again, it is a paradox. You leave your ego, you have no connection with this body, but then you get connected with everything because you connect with the substrata. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet next time, same time. Thank you.